Plan on getting started close to 7, but
You got
let's slow down, give people a few more minutes. Well, we promoted it all we could, all on Facebook.
You probably had a good crowd until you told them Rainwater was going to be here. Right.
We need 12, but only did it's off Kingfish, right?
What's that?
Don't we need 12, not at Kingfish, or something like that, 10 or 20?
Actually, Dragon also prefers 25.
Uh-oh.
We've done
No,
that.
actually, I stopped here when I signed the contract, we looked for work, just make sure they use their credit, turns out, she brought the ball, get me, and what.
First, I grabbed the ball,
They can handle, they get it ready. Short for convention.
If anybody says anything about, well, you don't have 25 people, tell them at least one person here has,
They never complained that, they,
sometimes over 25 personalities. So.
we had this very full before.
Yeah,
This room of all, I think, people.
whether it's like, we might have to hunt stuff or
Yeah, it goes back to it.
We're the more ones on Tuesday, Wednesday, it's dance, and play at the back.
something. It's right behind
How you doing, sir? Well, there.
I thought I knew you served me.
It's all right, so I said, sir?
Yeah, I work for a living. I was in the Navy for 8 years.
Right.
Sir, it's an insult.
here. Trouble, so you walk in.
You know what the most confusing thing was in what category it was? Father's Day.
Father's Day.
Oh, God.
Platform.
Good evening, join us.
I mentioned it tomorrow night. You got the other one. The dust farm. This one, I had a Jefferson County Friday. One question, it's in the Brown County. You don't see it.
Yeah.
This is my husband's father.
Yeah, it was, well, the last time we talked about, well, actually, the past 2 meetings, we talked about the free trade migration. Want to change it, take out the word, we're, I got pulled up.
Are you feeling better though? Are you feeling better?
Feeling better.
Yes, I was, you were sick. Said, you went on the caucus meeting. Pro-life caucus meeting. I guess you were sick.
The one yesterday or Sunday?
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't the meeting, that was their interview.
But it was a pro-life caucus, right?
Pro-life caucus, Christian caucus, and the,
She just said you were sick, so you weren't able to make it because you were sick, so I was like, See. She's something that's what they said. So I thought you said.
Hello. All right, how's our interest? Coke Zero.
We haven't started yet, Andrew, so that's why we can't hear anything. No. But we're going to start pretty soon, okay? We're going to get everybody fed, and then we're going to start. The Cox, unsweetened tea, and I'd like the crispy cod strips, and 2 things of French fries. That's fine. Wait for them. Okay, that's fine.
I'll bring y'all some hush puppies, okay? Y'all want to wrap people on that? You're saying not, yeah. So none of the new ones you're constrained. Well, I'm just saying that was proposing that, some.
Right, that's what it sounds like, none of the movement should be constrained, should be completely open.
Right. Which I like, but yeah, I'm surprised.
But, yeah, we spent 2 days trying to modify the motion. And then eventually, I convinced them, I said, look, guys, if we bring this to the floor, it's gonna take up the entire 90 minutes of the day. To remove that one word. So, we've been debating it for 2 days now, and let's throw 1,000 people into the mix. So, I will motion to table it. That table. But if they're gonna go back and rework it,
That's always been I heard a lot, so just removing the word and then some.
well, it was more than just removing that word, there were other additions.
Oh, within
the
it.
same motion.
Oh, I did. I came in, I won.
Like I said, I'm telling you, we're arguing for 2 days over this one word. What do you think's going to happen at there are 1,000 people? We've been allotted 90 minutes for our platform. So if we want to do any other business besides this, then we need to forget. Because I really think that basically another anarchist versus anarchist type of thing. Because I don't like the word unreasonable. Because I believe there are such things as a reasonable reason why the government shouldn't allow someone to cross the border.
I'm hard given some of the changes in the party that the argument is even between unreasonably or get rid of unreasonably and why let's keep them out. You know, I mean, given some of so it's actually reassuring to hear that that's still the argument between anarchists and anarchists.
I believe that is the
As opposed to someone.
right. Okay, guys, I'm going to give them another 4 minutes. Start at 10 after.
Eric Schonberg indicated he will be here. He might be here a bit late.
We're libertarians.
We are on libertarian times.
Thank you.
Damn it, Don.
Hero.
Thank you.
Well, actually, Rhonda was even worse. She was here and prepared.
Yeah.
So we
I walking in.
Don't just show us up.
Well, no.
What kind of libertarian is that?
Yeah. And the morning was like, what are you guys doing? Well, I don't know. Yeah.
Other people hear us now.
Well, I put a mic over by him and you can actually ask questions.
Yay.
Oh, that's here.
And I put the ambient noise out.
So yeah, don't say anything you don't want to be used against you in a court of law.
You can bring butter also.
Yay.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
See, now we've got two people on here, which is not unusual, right? And then two mics, and there's Andrew. He's like, I can't hear you.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. So, I mean, I put it all out there. So, I mean, I wish I had said 7:30, but I mean, there you go. That's all right.
Well, I did say like 7:15, didn't I tell you?
Well, hi, Andy. I said just 7-ish.
Yeah.
7-ish. That's okay. Usually what happens.
Like Don said, we are libertarians. We make up our own time.
Usually what happens is like just a few people will watch and then a bunch of people will watch. At the rate. Because,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll watch it later.
Right.
Russell, as well as 1 minute, so we can get her to take it. So she's not trying to do that or putting it off.
I'm
Flexible.
flexible.
On theory, she should.
Well, I am not flexible, but
I'm flexible, but I'm not liberal.
Commenting
Right.
Anything else?
which reminds me, I'm gonna schedule a stretching and thing session.
Okay. Everyone wanted to hear that.
That's fine. Everybody massage envy if you can get a membership. They do stretching.
He's doing advertisements.
That's what it sounds like.
Yes.
Hey, the president's greatness now. Take your hand. Well, I'd be better if you won re-election.
Josh, glad you made it.
Yeah, good to see you guys. All right, thank you. You gotta tell her.
I do.
Keep her.
See, aren't you glad you waited another 4 minutes?
Correct.
Oh, was it?
Oh, yeah, well, then.
Yep.
I'm sorry, just there.
No, we haven't started.
Head
yet.
start yet. You're good.
We're on libertarian time.
Can you ever really truly interrupt?
I'm libertarians.
Well, it's kind of hard. I mean, our
Here as well.
see what our record's what, like 2
They
minutes.
drove to this and I thought they did draw.
Under two.
Yeah.
Well, if everybody releases the minutes ahead of time, we don't need to
They
read
draw
them.
in
Just
and
do pass them.
next week.
Right, just get everything ready to go.
Right.
That bar, is the same place we.
Yes, but what did you write on here?
Okay,
That's what the bylaws say. The bylaws say to read the minutes. Well, you can read the
Start
minutes
next month.
prior to.
Okay. We have to submit any changes to the bylaws ahead of time.
Yes.
Damn it.
That's okay, we can submit it now for when we reconvene.
Well, you can always.
Oh, well, that's all the problem. These are like substantial minutes compared
To what Kurt.
yeah.
Right. That's why I was told her, I was telling Margie that I really liked how Matt does the
Yeah.
minutes.
That's what?
This is being streamed on Facebook. This is being streamed on Facebook.
Yeah, that's all.
Gotcha, I'm gonna let you go, okay?
See if she can get back and take her order.
Yeah, get the order taken first. That's a good idea.
Tell him, John. Do or do not. There is no problem.
You gotta be the dinner.
I got my room.
Go.
Paid my dues.
But I noticed that the other nominees in that category, each of them had to have like one endorsement comment, like for the candidate or something. It looked pretty good on what they sent out, the ballots that they sent out, because they had the reason. And everybody else was like, if you tell one person nominated, you had it written on yours. I know more than one person.
Well, whoever nominated you, I do appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. It was much, I moved around, I get the part on some people, but I like traveling to other parts of the.
Yeah, I like that it's in different parts of the state.
That would be my proposal anyway. There's only a couple of us giving proposals. I know I'm one, and I know this, Christine, proposing. They might be wrong.
So you guys need to get that to have a state convention
State convention, whatever.
Down here.
here.
Well, we did, well, 2005, 2009, we did. You're,
Oh, okay, that hasn't been recent enough.
but the big argument is, a lot of people don't like it, they say it's too far. People from up north, too far to drive.
Well, it was like a rule at one time that when it off your type of
Copies for you all.
I think.
Thank you.
But I know for a while, because it wasn't, what was it, 2018?
Yes, what Evan stopped at.
Yes, casino.
And up in Fort Wayne, it was slowly attended.
I just like being down there on the road. Every time I
Yeah,
come down.
2017, our convention was in Evansville.
Every time I come down here, when I get out of the car, I always take a couple of pictures, send them back to my wife.
Then we don't have it convention, we did it in Michigan City once, we did it up in LaPorte County, we did it in Fort Wayne. I don't mind driving up there, but before,
So you do it in Illinois?
before, I can't remember the name of the county was,
She took your order? Oh, your drink orders.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, she just dropped off and then ran away. But she still didn't bring butter.
Well, that was the manager.
Oh, that was me.
One hush button.
It's big old hush puppies right there.
here we go.
Oh, no, thank you. I ate on the way down here.
Oh,
I'm trying to get my blood sugar down. Shoot it through as much as I love cornbread, hush puppies.
Okay. Y'all want to get started? Do you all want to get started, or do you want to wait for her to take our orders? Do you all want to get started, or do you want to wait for her to take our food orders?
We got about 6 people up this now.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I figured. That's what I figured.
There you go.
Whose name is that? I'm happy to share. What's that?
Came in from Lake County.
I'll let you know.
Thank you.
What did I do for a book? Hold on, let me do my book. I'll come right back to teacher's order. I can't remember that one.
You know, starting like this. Yeah.
Nope.
they've not been lately, of course, Mike's retired now, and he's always whining that he's broke. He's on a fixed income. I said, well, you showed us you're retired. Early.
Once I did that,
It's,
Republican Democrats.
he's only 63, he's retired.
Yeah.
You wish you were still working? Well, no, I don't.
Right.
So I want to make a podcast based on like local state issues and have laser focus on like we want you to pay, but this is the cost of everything. So once you start realizing the cost of everything, the trade-offs are it'd be soon. Work has been great. I can engineering and some new projects purpose. We are the ones that are the responsible. We have better product. So we have
Urgent.
our values change themselves. Just yeah, which
Yeah.
Good time. Probably not.
Yeah.
Walking towards it, he's like, "When we going back down there?" I'm like, we will see."
Trying to talk him into doing a karaoke church service.
Church
Start
service,
down
that's
here.
different.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, wait.
Yeah, we get the chicken tender dinner, fresh fries and green beans and no sauce.
That's right. No sauce.
Right.
All right.
I'll do the chicken tenders with green beans and coleslaw.
You want your crackers?
Sure.
The crackers?
Yeah.
No.
And do we have like barbecue sauce?
Yeah.
Barbecue.
Hello, Eric.
Ooh, there we go. Mr. John?
So it comes with Chick-fil-A that comes with like the barbecue fritters. And you can ask.
Yeah. So, yeah, because I'm pretty aggravated. No, right.
Hello, sir. Donald Green.
Let her finish.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, Lizzie, next attack. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
You know, we really should be in that market.
Thank you.
Vacation. Oh, there you are. Okay. You're gonna do? You have to put 0, right?
Yes.
Do you have a microphone?
Hmm?
Is there a microphone there?
Right here. waiting for her to finish taking the orders.
Did everybody get custard pizza? And butters, right?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Now that that's all taken care of and we're all going to get fed, my name's Russ Brooksbank. I want to welcome everybody to the 23rd annual convention and business meeting of the Libertarian Party of Clark County. Today we have two special guests. We have Donald Rainwater and Rhonda Greene. Both are vying for our nomination to run for governor. And so we've invited them both to come, speak, answer your all's questions, and they've graciously agreed to come. So without further ado, we'll start the candidate forum. What we've discussed earlier is that each candidate's going to have 5 minutes to convince you to vote for them. And then we'll take questions from the audience after that. I've spoken with both candidates, and Mr. Rainwater has agreed to allow Ms. Greene to go first.
Ready?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Hi, I'm Rhonda Greene, and I'm vying for the candidate for governor. We can't campaign like we used to. The old-fashioned way where we go in and say, look, you just elect me and everything will be fine. And that's not what we can do today. Indiana, we can't campaign as if Indiana were right because Indiana isn't right. We have a bunch of locals that are out of control. Government doesn't follow any law, local, federal, or state. And, Jamie Knoll is a big example of that. In all of this corruption, you can't just ignore it. You can't just say, look, I can float in, I can be governor, and I'll take care of this. So what my campaign is, because, for one, it'll take care of a lot of problems in my own county, is a three-pronged thing, and it involves your county. I have already sent information requests to all the JRAC boards in each county. And you can go to greenforgovernor.com and you can see what they responded for. Now, the JRAC boards are responsible for the opioid settlement money. Millions of dollars that are going to go through Indiana, and much of it not even, with any oversight. And we have already, in each county, we already have 5 that have no meeting minutes or meeting schedule. We have 16 that never did respond, and we have 9 that have not gotten back with us. The only county that was actually viable was Cass County, which already had all of that information up on their website. And so money unattended going through the pipes where we can't see it. Now, another thing that I'm going to go on is the BMV falsifies documents on a lot of Hoosiers. and suspends licenses as a precursor for the state police to pull you over, or the local police. And we actually have evidence of that. And we're going to go ahead and press that this next week. We actually went to a family reunion this last month, and we talked to my family, and 3 out of the 4 people that attended, they had a suspended license, or their wives had a suspended license, or their uncle had a suspended license. And, you know, the BMV is doing this on purpose to be a precursor to take away your Fourth Amendment rights. And so we're going to go into that this next week. Now, as far as like corruption, Delaney Creek Park is an example. We have actual citizens building structures, uninspected structures on public property, buying and selling public property without property tax or sales tax. Now, I know as a libertarian, that's like, woohoo! But that's not what we need. We need people to follow the rules and not steal and not abuse people. And that's just a really good example that they can't really like pull in. So you could actually go ahead and pay $5 and go up to the annual campgrounds, and you could take a tour. And you can see all of these structures that are uninspected in a public place where people are living 365 days a year. Vacation property subsidized by the county. Now, you know, what do I get out of this, right? What I get out of this, whether you want me to help your county or not, is that my county is starting to crack. We have an abundant corruption there. Okay. But they're starting to crack. Lawyers have quit. People are being reappointed that are functional people. So if you want me to help you with your county, vote me in as the governor candidate. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Greene. Next will be Mr. Donald Rainwater.
She's still got 30 seconds. Can't she have her 30 seconds?
Get it up there, buddy. Come on now, just try to be competitive in your revenue.
I think it's well documented that anybody gives me 5 minutes and I'll take 10. I will not do that tonight, though, I promise. For those of you who don't know, my name's Donald Rainwater. I was the Libertarian candidate for governor in 2020, and I'm running for the nomination in 2024, mainly because we've made tremendous strides in growth in our state party over the last 4 years. And I believe that's because we have a message that resonates with Hoosiers. I think Governor Holcomb did us a tremendous favor in 2020 by mandating things that were unconstitutional. Hoosiers stood up and said, I'm not for that. Where's somebody who is going to do what I believe is right? And they found us. I believe we have an opportunity because even though the pandemic is over, most Hoosiers who own homes are as frustrated with property taxes today as they were with mask mandates in 2020. I think there are people who are just as frustrated today with the Indiana Economic Development Corporation and the money that is going to it. If you hadn't heard, the General Assembly gave them $1 billion in 2024, and it just so happens that the Medicaid shortfall is $1 billion. And they don't know what to do other than to take money away from parents who have been promised that they can stay home and take care of their sick children. They want to take that money away from them, but they want to give it to the Indiana Economic Development Commission to do things like the LEAP project in Lebanon, which people in Tippecanoe County are particularly upset about. We've got an opportunity. Hoosiers are waking up. We need to give them a libertarian message that they can grab onto and sink their teeth into, and I think we do that. So I'm going to ask you to do 4 things for me tonight. The first is vote for me at convention. I need your vote. The second is to contact Stephanie Dosbach, my campaign manager, and volunteer to help with our campaign. Even if it's 1 hour a week, and what I'm going to challenge you to do is five candidates, 5 libertarian candidates, give them 1 hour a week each. That's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I give 1 hour to different libertarian candidates. If we can get 100 libertarians in Indiana to do that, that's 100 hours for a candidate of volunteer service a week. That's a lot. That can go a long way. And that's something that I think we need to do as a party. The third thing I'm going to ask you to do is go to rainwaterforindiana.com and hit that donate button. We raised $450,000 in 2020 and got 345,000 votes. Now, I'm going to tell you real quickly here, I'm keeping an eye on that. I'm going to tell you real quickly that when I got the nomination in 2020, I looked, and the most votes that a libertarian statewide candidate had ever gotten was about 118,000. And my goal was to double that. Well, we tripled that. So in 2024, my goal is to do 4 times what we did in 2020. Because if we can get 4 times the votes, we can win. And I believe that Hoosiers are ready for our message. I believe we can win. But in order to get 4 times the votes, we need to raise 4 times the money. We need to raise about $1.5 million for the gubernatorial campaign in Indiana, and I believe we can do that. The fourth thing, real quick, that I need you to do, if you want to get rid of straight ticket voting in the state of Indiana, there is no better way to do it than to fill the ballot with libertarian candidates. There are 100 state representatives up for election in 2024 and 25 state senators. If we had 125 libertarian names on the ballot so that Hoosiers could go in and vote straight ticket libertarian, it would scare the Republicans to death and they would get rid of that right away. That's my time. Thank you very much.
To think Evan thought I should give you 3 minutes.
Yeah, well, that's because he knew. It's a stretch to give you 5.
I'm not back here. These 2 pitchers are sweet and unsweet, and then the one with the little straw is the sweet. Okay, just in case. Obviously I'll keep coming back, but just in case you're not in Thursday.
Okay, so we will now open it up to questions from the floor. I don't know if y'all want to sit there or sit here, whatever you want to do. So, do you have a question? Do you have a question?
I have a question.
You have a question.
I have a question for each of the candidates, and I hope that you could get a minute to answer. If you are nominated and you become the governor, you have a veto power against bills that go in the Senate. What bill would you adamantly veto and why?
The abortion. If there's a way to go ahead and get at that, that is the most hideous law, because it doesn't do what it says it does. What it does is it cuts a woman off from her family. If she gets pregnant, she can't tell anyone. And normally, yeah, it infuriates me. And because, no girl ever went to a slumber party talking about recreational abortion. And it's just unreal that a government that is so broken like Indiana thinks it could actually go ahead and implement this law. And because if a woman has a miscarriage, that would have to be investigated. I think that, the abortion law does more to kill babies, unborn children, than anything else out there. That's why, and I'm pro-life as far as like, that goes. And, but yeah, no, that law needs to go. We can't do it. It's standing in the way of a lot of children being born.
Thank you.
So one thing that I've done every time I've run for office and will do again is sign the Americans for Tax Reform Taxpayer Protection Pledge, which says that as governor, I will oppose and veto all attempts to increase taxes. And I will make the pledge today, and I will make it over and over and over again. As governor of the state of Indiana, if the Indiana General Assembly puts a state budget on my desk that includes $1 of tax increase, I will veto the state budget and make them vote on it again. Now, let's make sure we understand, in Indiana, the governor's veto and $3.95 will get you a cup of coffee at Starbucks, okay? The governor's veto can be overridden by a simple majority. It is almost meaningless. What it is, as Teddy Roosevelt said, the bully pulpit. The governor has the opportunity to say, I oppose this. You put me here because you wanted certain things done. This General Assembly is not doing what you want, so I have vetoed this bill, and I would veto the budget, both biennial budgets, if they insist on raising taxes.
Any other? Well, this goes to the.
So I'm a former New Albany City Councilman. One of the biggest things that we have, in my opinion, one of the biggest dangers we have in New Albany is TIF is out of control. Recently, our mayor has through the council and his executive, he controls the council. He created a moratorium on apartments. My fear is we have TIFs now that are being abused. We keep renewing TIFs. I'm concerned about housing TIFs now coming into play, and I think that might be. I know some things. I think that might be as play as housing TIFs. What do we do to reform TIFs, and how will you guys work with the legislature to get this corrected? Because TIFs are going to kill us. And
You go first. I keep going first, and you answer what I say. But go ahead, you go first.
Okay, absolutely. So tax increment financing is one of the biggest problems in the state of Indiana. When I talk about eliminating the state income tax or capping property taxes at 1% of the actual purchase price of your property and doing away with assessments, there are a lot of people who go, oh, if you do that, you're going to defund the police and you're going to defund the schools. And they defunded the police, defunded the firefighters, and defunded schools when they started tax increment financing. Because what a lot of citizens don't understand is that they set the assessment level, and then every additional increase in property taxes goes to pay the debt load that developers, private developers, took loans out to do development, and the city or county said, well, we'll pay these loans for you with this tax increment. So when they're raising your assessed value to raise your property taxes, that's not going to the police and the fire and the teachers. What it's doing is it's going to for-profit developers. And of course, you know this, right? But a lot of these people out watching this streaming probably don't know that. And so what we have to do is, first and foremost, we have to get the Indiana General Assembly to say no more TIF. We stop it with what's there. We put a cap on it, no more. And when they run out, they're done. And we start putting money back into what the taxes were originally designed to do in the first place. Nobody, no individual citizen in the state of Indiana should be taxed so that a for-profit corporation can get a break on a loan. That's just immoral and unethical.
I have over 20 years in local government. I've been recording and putting meetings up online, the most boring, mind-bending kind of meetings. And the thing of it is, it doesn't matter what you pass in the state or federal. If the local government doesn't abide by it, if they don't follow the law and don't care, you can't get them under control. And so with your specific thing, with the TIF thing, is there a place where you can actually find out what they're saying at these meetings? Do they have their meeting minutes or meeting video up online? You know, anything that should be just like this right here. We're being seen all over the state. And what we need is transparency in our local government. And we don't have that. We do not have that, but it's possible to do that. And as governor, I would demand and actually insist that people, you know how many boards are in the county. Who's on these boards? What do they do? Can they tax? Are they taxing? What is happening here? We don't have any control if we don't know what they are. And I mean, you can pass a bazillion laws, and if they don't follow them, then we have nothing. We have what we have now in Indiana, third world nasty. That's what I bring to the table. I know what you're going through. I've got video up online to show you that I know what's happening here. We're losing our newspapers. We're losing our grip on our local government, on our local communities. Is that good? All right. Yeah, I could wave something around.
Any other questions? Yeah, okay.
So I actually had two different questions, but this is the most important one to me as a delegate to the state party. If either one of you wouldn't win the nomination against your opponent, would you be willing to fully support the winner in your home county and throughout the state?
In what?
If you didn't win the nomination, for example, and Rhonda did, would you fully support Rhonda as the governor's candidate for the LPIN? And the same question goes to Rhonda: would she fully support if she didn't win the nomination to support you?
Well, first and foremost, I feel like I put way too much work into growing the party and getting the message out to not continue to do that, whether I get the nomination or not. I think it's extremely important. This isn't about me. This is about my children, my grandchildren, your grandchildren, your neighbors, your parents. You know, the Indiana I grew up in doesn't exist anymore. And it scares me, but more than scaring me, it makes me mad, which is why I do this. My wife would prefer that I fish. She'd know where I was at. But she knows that this is important to me because and I tell people all the time, I'm not doing this because I think I can make things better. I'm just trying to slow down the decay that's going on in this state. I can't stop it. I can't turn it around by myself. But we've got to work together to make sure that there's something left for our kids and our grandkids and their kids, and that's why I do this.
I'm not a traditional campaigner, but I have no problem. In fact, if I did get the nomination, what I intended to do was not really to go to these caucuses or anything similar to that nature. Really, what I wanted to focus on was tell me when a meeting's happening, and I'll show you how to set this up so that you could go ahead and live stream this video. Let me tell you how to ask for stuff so that you can protect yourself and your family. That's what I'm here for. And I'm fully willing to go ahead and, because this next couple of weeks is going to do a lot for my county. Like I said, it's starting to crack. The lawyers quit and they had to be, other lawyers had to be rehired. They actually had to put real people, legal people on these boards. And it looked like they were sucking lemons when they were doing it. And that brought me joy, right? It did. I know. It's the whole, and that's the smackdown of a real campaign. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm not gonna badmouth Don. I haven't done that yet. You don't want me to, do you? I mean, that's not how I work. And if I don't get this, I'm gonna pivot and I'm gonna go after the commissioner in my county, just for fun. Right. So, but yeah, I'd help you if it's within my buffer to do that.
So I had a second part to my turn is, do you believe you can win governor? And if not, why are you running?
Ron,
I'll just go ahead and do that. No, I don't think so. I think Indiana is so nasty that I don't think we have real elections. And it's, even just the obvious straight ticket vote or what have you. The reason I'm running is to make their faces look like they're sucking lemons. I want you to be able to protect yourself. I want to have legitimate government for once. Indiana, once again, is third world nasty. And the thing of it is, people, I say, well, they come up to me and they say, you're not going to win. Well, I'm going to take that off the table, right? I don't care. I don't care if I get this nomination. I don't care. I'm going to go ahead and work it the way I can and as hard as I can for as long as I can. And I'm going to go ahead and show you how it's done. So no, I don't think we can win, but I am winning because the county is changing and cracking, and we're going to get at least some sort of legal government.
Mr. Rainwater?
As I said before, nobody thought in 2020 that the Libertarian candidate was going to get 11.4%, 345,000 votes. I wouldn't do this again. I've done it once. I know what it takes. I know what it takes out of you. I know what it takes out of my wife. And I wouldn't put her through this, wouldn't put my family through this, if I didn't believe that it was worth doing everything I can to win this election and to create a balance of power in the Indiana state government where one does not exist today. We have a supermajority and we have lost the three separate but equal branches of government in our state government. And if we want to fix anything, that's where we start. If we want to get a Indiana General Assembly that can actually do something substantive, then what we have to do is put enough libertarians in the Indiana General Assembly that they have to come to us and negotiate when they want to pass something. And I believe we can do that if we would just get up and do it and not convince ourselves that we can't win. If we can't win, we're a social club and we ought to just stay home.
Theoretical as that one. It's not so serious. All right. If you all could push Murray Rothbard's red button and end the state, would you do it? Murray Rothbard's red button, push it, just eliminate all the states. Would you do it?
You want to go first or me too?
I want you to go first. I don't quite understand.
No, I would not, and here's why.
Okay.
I tell people all the time, it took them 240 years to systematically and slowly erode our liberties and take our individual freedoms. We're not going to get them back overnight. First of all, in 2020, I went out and said, let's do away with the property tax. You can't own your home if you have to pay rent to the government twice a year with the threat of them taking it away if you don't. And people said, oh, you can't do away with the property tax. How would we pay for the schools? People aren't ready for no government. We have to have something at the very least to be able to make sure that when somebody aggresses against you, you have some type of nonviolent way to settle the dispute. That's right. And the courts. You've got to have something. But I believe in the minimalist of something we can get. But we can't get there overnight. You can't wake up tomorrow. I don't wake up tomorrow with hair down to here. And we cannot wake up tomorrow with no government.
I've been running for a long time, and usually I get 26%. And I don't think that I'm not going to get that in Indiana anyway. So I know that, 11% and whatever, but I've gotten 20 and 26% for years. And we were the other, there were Republicans and then the Libertarians in our county for years. Just wanted to say that. The purpose of government is to deal with conflict. And if you cannot deal with conflict, have legal boards for legal hearings. If you can't have the BMV stop lying about, information and that kind of thing, the government is not functioning. Now, as far as like getting rid of government or taxes or whatever, we need to go ahead and deal with what structures we do have, because we have no idea what's there. And we don't have any idea, you've got to know somebody to do something. And we've got to get it up front, legal boards for legal hearings. Get rid of the corruption. Kind of deal with the Jamie Knowles of the rest of Indiana. I mean, and so I could wave my arms around a little bit too, but I don't know if we can actually get rid of government unless we actually look at it, because it does serve some kind of purpose.
We're people hopefully of great principle, but at the same time we tailor our message to the audience we're speaking to. So could you both give me like 60 to 90 second elevator speeches if you're talking to a typical Democrat and a typical Republican? How would those approaches differ?
Just the illegal search and seizure commercial that I have on there, on my website, has already gotten 30,000 combined hits on YouTube. Now, I did pay for 29,000 through plays for less than a penny a piece in the state of Indiana. That's how I'm talking to people. You find what's actually bothering them. Getting pulled over and getting a ticket for being innocent kind of pisses people off. And it's happening all over the state. And that resonates. Because we went out and we asked and we talked to people and we found out what actually is happening. You can go ahead and get a problem and say, look, backyard chickens. That's important, but that's not what people are worried about. They're worried about their wives or their children being pulled over by a state cop and having their car stolen. That's what they're concerned about. They're concerned about having a suspended license without knowing it and having that be the precursor to having their car pulled over and stolen, like my son. Right? And they're kind of angry about the corruption. So what we're doing is we're actually going out there and we're finding out what actually resonates. Taxes, yeah, that's irritating. But when your personal being is in trouble, is in danger, that actually is starting to resonate.
In the Declaration of Independence, Thomas Jefferson wrote, "To secure these rights, governments are instituted among men." To secure these rights. And he was talking about unalienable individual rights, not the parts that the Republicans like or the parts the Democrats like. All the unalienable rights. Rights that you were born with, because rights are not privileges and the government doesn't build them out as they see fit. You were born with those rights. I believe that the only purpose of government is to secure your individual rights. But what we have today is government being used as Thor's hammer instead of Captain Marvel's shield. And government should be Captain Marvel's shield, where every once in a while, in a defensive manner, he would have to throw it at somebody, but it would come back to him, and it was a manner of defense against aggression. And as a libertarian, I believe in the non-aggression principle. I believe that as long as you pursue your destiny, your life, liberty, property, and pursuit of happiness, without harming somebody else or defrauding or forcing them to live the way you think they should live, that you should be left alone. And so should they. You don't have to agree with what they do. They don't have to agree with what you do, as long as you don't aggressively infringe on each other. That's when government comes in. That's what libertarians believe, and that's why I'd like to have your vote.
Any other questions?
I have one. I have one because there's something going on down here that I want to make sure I get the opportunity to talk about, and I'll bet you do too. Does anybody have any questions related to the data center that Meta is going to be building down here and the special deal that the Indiana Economic Development Commission gave them to come to Jeffersonville?
Let's hear it.
Well, all right. So all I want to know is this. How many of you have been given permission not to pay your electric bill for the next 35 years? Anybody? Nobody? Meta got permission. The Indiana Economic Development Corporation granted a 35-year sales and use tax exemption to Meta, the parent company for Facebook, to build an $800 million data center down here. Now, here's the thing. For 35 years, they don't have to pay sales tax on the data center equipment or on the electric bill to run it. They estimate the first 5 years, they're going to save over $10 million. I personally find it immoral, unethical, and just downright offensive that the state of Indiana continues to allow property taxes to go up and up and up on people who have paid off their mortgage. They're living in what they thought was their forever home, and they're going to have to sell that forever home where their kids were born and raised and got married, and now they're going to have to sell all those memories because the government would rather give a huge corporation a tax break that you have to pay for with your property taxes and your income tax and your, how many of you own more than one car? Does anybody in here own more than one car? Do you pay, you know that when you buy a new car, you pay sales tax, right? And then you turn around every year and pay an excise tax so you can have new plates so you can keep driving your car. That's double taxation. It's cow dung is what it is. And I want to put a stop to it. Hoosiers are hurting. They say that, oh, Indiana's doing great economically. The governor stands up, pats himself on the back so hard he probably pulls a muscle. They talk about how great Indiana's doing. But I guarantee you that out of the 6.8 million Hoosiers in this state, at least half are living paycheck to paycheck and wondering how in the world they're going to make it. And all the state of Indiana can do is blame inflation on the federal government when the state government is spending like drunken sailors. And I know something about that because I used to be one. So, not the governor, a drunken sailor. So these tax breaks for these big corporations like Meta, this has to stop. Individually. The Declaration of Independence was about people. We the people. Not we the corporations. Not we the employees of the corporations. Everything that... Huh? Yeah, 100 jobs. Oh, and did you know that the U.S. Chamber of Commerce issued a report back in August of 2023 saying that in the state of Indiana, there are only 72 unemployed people for every 100 available jobs. We have a worker shortage of 28 people per 100 jobs. So they're bringing in all these new jobs, but we don't have people for them. Sorry, I went on too long. Go ahead.
You know, hey, Holcomb's a putz. We know that. We know that. I've been an online merchant for, I've been a businesswoman for over 30 years and an online merchant and wholesaler for over 20. And I actually worked at Amazon, the SDF8 facility, for 7 years. And technology, as far as like this goes, I mean, sure, you know, Holcomb's a putz, once again. And here is a problem. Yeah, this is something that you can go ahead and get riled up about or whatever, but can you actually do something about it without getting your local under control? Right? So I'm going to be mean, Don. I'm going to throw my hands around and say, oh my goodness. But until we get our local government under control, any of our government under control, this kind of thing is going to happen over and over and over again. And, you know, I'm not, like, once again, I'm not, you know, trying to pull in problems specifically or what have you. It actually, It actually goes to the local or what people are having to deal with, and you deal with it problem by problem. And, but yeah, no, that's, God bless your little heart, Don. That's more nebulous. Everyone's against that shit. Pardon the expression. I'm the one that will keep you from being pulled over and your car stolen by the state police. That's who I am. All right. Practical problems. Practical.
Russ, can I have one quick opportunity of rebuttal since she turned around and mentioned me several times?
Please.
I just want to point out, and I will do so with both hands firmly on the podium, and I won't even raise my voice.
There you go.
You cannot get local government under control in the state of Indiana until you control the Indiana General Assembly and the governor's office, because in the state of Indiana, the Indiana General Assembly controls local government. As a matter of fact, and a point of illustration, I used to live in Westfield, Indiana, and shortly after moving out of Westfield, Indiana, the city council there passed term limits, saying that no city government elected official could do more than 2 terms. Upon hearing about this, the Indiana General Assembly very quickly passed a state statute that said that no local or county government is allowed to pass any law regarding term limits or elections. Unfortunately, while Rhonda is very correct and very passionate about wanting to change local government and hold them accountable, the state of Indiana controls local government and can pretty much tell counties and localities what they can and cannot do.
Thank you, Don. And that is why I am running for governor. That is exactly right. Our governor has not taken care of our local communities in any way, shape, or form. They break the law, and the state government looks away. Thank you for making that point for me. But yes, that's why I'm running for governor. That's why I'm running for governor.
Okay.
I just want to ask, of course, just the other day, Eric Holcomb decided to mobilize our National Guard to the state of Texas. They're preparing now to leave. They will be there for at least 10 months minimum. If either one of these elected, I'm certain you'll work from home as soon as you're elected, and you get them out of Texas and bring them back to their families here.
I hope.
Well,
Yeah. My husband's a veteran, and he states that it shouldn't happen where, a U.S. Tag on a uniform shouldn't be fighting somebody else with a U.S. tag on their uniform. And what Holcomb has done is more show. We really don't need a civil war in the United States. And if I understand what has been happening down there, they have not been following the law and allowing immigrants in willy-nilly without the law being utilized. So that goes back to my thing. We need to actually have people, our public officials, actually following the law and upholding the law. And as far as like sending troops down, that's ridiculous. That shouldn't have happened. And, there may be something that I don't know because we don't know because we're not in the governor office. But, my first blush is just back away and see if you can't go ahead and find out who is, what's happening and how it can be fixed in a peaceful manner.
So first of all, this is an extremely complex situation. To start with, if you want to secure your border, I would suggest that you bring your United States military home from overseas and use your defensive force, which is your Army and Air Force and Marine Corps and Navy, to defend your border if you feel that there is a need to defend your border. I also, and I agree with Rhonda in the fact that this is a dog and pony show. If this border crisis had only started yesterday, then Governor Holcomb's actions might be somewhat reasonable today. But the reality is that this has been going on for a long time, and this is just a political ploy because we're in an election year. This wasn't necessary back in November or October of 2023. It's just a political ploy, and we should not be sending the Indiana National Guard down there to the border. That should be, now here again, and I agree with you 100%, the federal government is not following current law. And if we are a nation of laws, and if we believe in the rule of law, the first thing that we do is we have to follow the laws on the books and then change the laws if we don't think that they're correct. I love the way that our state chair, Evan McMahon, had stated this to me. We need tall fences and wide gates. Our immigration problems are a lot bigger than what we hear and see on the TV. Okay? I've worked with people who immigrated here legally on H-1B visas, have lived here for over a decade. Two different gentlemen, they and their families have lived here for over a decade, and they are being held captive by the companies that hold their visas. They will not move them up to qualify them for green cards because they're afraid they might leave their employ if they do that. That's a problem with our immigration laws. We've got issues that go much farther than just people crossing the border illegally. And neither side, this is one of those things, and this is the thing that's here, I'll get my hands back on this. I don't want to flail around. This is one of the things that's infuriating to me. Both the Republicans and the Democrats use immigration as a voter ploy. They'll never fix the problem because they don't want it fixed. It gets too many votes. And we have too many of these issues, both in the state of Indiana and across this country. I don't talk about national politics very often because I'm focused on fixing Indiana. Because I believe if you don't fix the states, you can't fix the federal government. But I'm going to tell you, we get all caught up in all the propaganda, and it's all political propaganda designed to get you to vote one way or the other, and they don't ever fix anything, and we all ought to get mad about that and say, you know what? We're going to boycott both of you. We're going to vote different in 2024, and that's what I encourage you to do, and that's what I encourage you to get your friends and your family and your neighbors to do. Vote differently, because if we keep doing what we're doing, we're going to keep getting what we're getting. Sorry, I flailed a little.
I think we will have one last question. You had a question?
No, it was
Okay.
covered.
Okay. Well, I will ask one last question. One of the big things that I would like to see done, and I know it's not just the governor that would be able to do this. We need to elect libertarians, to our state house and state senate and that to get this done. But I would like to know your opinions on. We would need to have, I believe, a an amendment to our state constitution to allow voter referendums.
To allow,
Voter referendums. I would like to know each of your position on that and what you would be willing to do as governor to help promote that.
Are you talking like getting rid of home rule, allowing people to vote on certain topics?
I'm talking about like if I have a law or a rule or something that I want to have implemented, that I go and I get signatures and it goes on the ballot and people vote on it.
ballot initiatives.
Ballot initiatives.
For a home rule state.
You want me to go first this time? Or? Okay. So if you go to rainwaterforindiana.com and go to the issues page, you'll notice that I have an issue there on ballot initiatives, recall, and referendums. Now, we already have referendums in Indiana because when they did the red herring called the 1% cap on your property taxes, like it's a real cap, it's not because the assessments keep going up. But they put the ability for schools to introduce referendums. So we have a form of referendum, but what you're talking about is a ballot initiative, right?
Yes.
Which is the ability for citizens to go out and get enough petitions to put a question on the ballot. Ohio did it with cannabis, right? They put a ballot initiative on for cannabis, and it passed because the concept of ballot initiatives are there so that if you get a supermajority in your General Assembly that refuses to listen to the voice of the people, and a governor who says, I smoked marijuana in college, but it's a gateway drug, and there hasn't been enough research to determine whether it's safe or not, then the people can go out and get enough petitions signed to get a ballot initiative on the ballot. I would, again, as governor, you can't do that by yourself, but I would use, as Teddy Roosevelt said, the bully pulpit to push the General Assembly in that direction. I believe we should have ballot initiatives. I believe we should have recall for every office in the state of Indiana, local, county, state, all the way up to governor, attorney general, secretary of state. They should all be subject to recall. Here again, and the way that gets done is you have petitions. You get enough petition signatures, there's a special election, there's a special vote. And I think that's something we need, and I would push for that for all 8 years I was governor of the state of Indiana. And yes, I know that's 2 terms, not 1.
Voting, that's just a given. We need reform all the way down to the roots. And like a no confidence vote would be a great thing to have. Get rid of the straight ticket voting and stuff like that. Yeah, anything that would actually enable the people to have a voice, because we don't have a voice now. Not just libertarians, but a lot of Democrats and Republicans. So yeah, ballot reform would be a very big thing. And being able to have referendums and that kind of thing. All right.
Okay. Now, what I would suggest is, as we draw this to a close, that each of you get 3 minutes to give some closing remarks. Okay. And since Ms. Greene went first, Mr. Rainwater, go first. Yes.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you for putting up with me for the last hour or so. I appreciate it. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate those of you watching on the stream. We have an opportunity in the state of Indiana as a Libertarian Party. And what we do in 2024 is going to shape the impact that we can have as a voice of, by, and for the people. The Republicans and the Democrats represent large corporate interests, labor unions, corporations. The Libertarian Party is the party of the individual, of individual rights. And we have a chance to make a difference in 2024. That's why I ask for your vote. I believe that I have a message that a majority of voters will hear and relate to and respond to. And if we don't take advantage of the opportunity we have today, we won't get too many more opportunities. Thank you.
I'm the candidate that will keep you from having to be pulled over and your car stolen. I'm the one that will, well, I'm just practical. And I'm just about talked out. Really am talked out. This has been a tiring thing. But yeah, no, I should get 26% in Indiana, just like I do in the county. Years and years of practice and campaigning. I know what people, I know to ask what people are concerned about and trying to go ahead and find a way or find a solution to their problems. And right now, if I were to actually accidentally get governor, we would work on the local because the local governments aren't following the law, state, local, or federal. And so until you can get the local under control, you can't get the state under control, you can't get the federal under control. So that's kind of what that's what I'm all about, is the local, and it's you. If you want me to go ahead and help you with your county, we've already started the process with the JRAC boards. Go to greenforgovernor.com and look it up. Look at the little commercial. You can ugly dance to it and figure out what is happening in your county and how healthy it is. Thank you so much.
Want to say thank you to both the candidates for a lively discussion and a civil discussion. And I wish you both the best. And I urge everybody to go to both of the candidates' websites and check them out. And may the best person win at the state convention. Our next item on the agenda is our business meeting. So Rhonda, I don't know if you want to record this and stream it.
I think we need a little bit of privacy, I think.
Right.
All right. So thank you all for listening, and you can always tap back into it and watch it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.